Can't stop. There you go. Listen, it is a great pleasure for me to introduce a friend, a colleague, and a fellow upstart, Michael Green. You can clap for him. This man was a visionary 20 years ago when he maxed out his credit cards and he set out to start CEH, and he's a visionary now. I've worked with Michael for coming on probably close to 20 years. And what I am most impressed with him is because Michael actually has a really deep spiritual core. He has an unending gratitude. I'm impressed with his vision and his tenacious fight for justice. And most of all, I'm impressed with the fact that he is an awesome hugger. Yep, give it up for the hugging. And as a board member of CEH, I invest in both Michael and CEH because they focus on improving the lives of millions who are too often overlooked in our country. And because, as you heard in the video, when CEH sets its sights on something, they win. Yeah. So I want you to put your hands together and welcome a father, a husband, an incredible hugger, and a visionary, Michael Green.
Thank you, Cecil. You're a pretty good hugger, dude. I'll be passing out the hugs to everybody who wants one later, so just bring it on. 350 hugs. I can do it. This is what's incredible about this evening is that there are so many people in this room who had a profound impact in our ability to accomplish the things that you just saw in that film. So there are people here who, in this room, who were at the table the first time that there was a conversation about the Center for Environmental Health, and each step along the way for the last 20 years. That's those 20 years. I want to talk about what we're up against now and what together we're going to do about it. The motivation for our work at the Center for Environmental Health is love. Our motivation is for the love of those who suffer harm from environmental toxins. That's what motivates us. And so my mom was an organizer, and she trained me early. She had me when I was like 7. She had me in the neighborhood with the March of Dimes box, and the neighbors got to, oh, Mrs. Green's gonna find out if I don't donate, and so that's where I learned how to do this. When I was 10, she got cancer, and then she lived another 40 years. My wife had cancer. Then a few years after that, Dylan and Juliet were born. They're here tonight. It's their first ever CEH Gala. And they're here with their mom. At CEH, it's our love for those who suffer from environmental toxins that causes us to win so consistently. Yes. There's a whole bunch of people in this room who are 25 and under. Let me hear it. Let me hear it from you guys. Listen, it's not an accident. And Jose's here too. And it's not an accident that they're here. It's part of the plan. Because we're looking forward. And they're going to be the leaders. So we need you. That's why you're here. Everybody in this room has hundreds of toxic chemicals in our bodies. Those chemicals are man-made chemicals. You didn't give permission for anybody to put them in your bodies. They were put in your bodies because somebody cared more about making a buck than they cared about your health. That is a trespass on our bodies. Which brings me to Donald Trump. While we believe that petrochemicals are a risk to our health, his administration has allowed a hostile takeover of the executive branch by the fossil fuel sector. While we believe in love for the most vulnerable, they're cultivating hate for the other. While our goal is preventing disease, their goal is corporate profits, even if someone's going to get sick along the way without health care. So, not that we need any more evidence, but let me just say that what happened today in Washington just shows how different the values are for the people in this room from the people who are making those really horrible decisions. So we got a fight on our hands. And we're ready for this because we prepared for 20 years. His voice makes my ears hurt. And I used to have that experience with George W. Bush. But Bush is a freaking songbird compared to Trump. So, but here's what happened. When Bush was elected, that was a horrible night. I remember it so clearly. But then what happened over the next 8 years is the folks in this room and folks that we work with created profound change despite him. So I'll just give one example. We literally sued hundreds of companies for exposing children to lead through consumer products they were selling. And we made them all take the lead out. And then after we made them all take the lead out, we and our friends got federal legislation passed banning lead in children's products. And then Bush signed that legislation in his 8th year. Trump's not having an 8th year. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to push back, and we're going to push back really hard. And we're also going to push forward regardless of who's in power. And I want to give you 3 examples. Number 1, we're going to push back by getting the right people and policies in place for environmental health. With an indivisible spirit, we are going to ferociously act at the local and state level so that we can have really strong policies that protect the most vulnerable, and so that we can have people like Nancy Skinner and Kevin De Leon who are representing us. Voters care deeply about preventing cancer in their families, about preventing birth defects in their families. So we're going to set the table for electing the people who share our values with our work. And we're going to do this by leveraging our science and the political leadership so that the corporations who would aspire to make a buck by making us sick just aren't able to do it in the long term. This is going to allow all of us, especially our grassroots partners, to build a deeper bench of politicians like the ones you met tonight who value environmental health so that we can ensure that the most vulnerable are protected. This could impact everybody from mayors to members of Congress, and we're going to win in 2018 as a result. Second, we're going to push back and be there for people on the front lines so that they can win. So similar to the win on the fracking ban in New York, we're going to fight hard to support those most at risk from exposure to toxic chemicals with critical health research and with messaging that can really make a profound difference. This includes testing, data, and provide real information about the harm that really exists for people. And we're going to name the corporate names who are threatening our health. Sometimes it's going to be about pipelines and oil and gas extraction. Sometimes it'll be about lead in low-income communities. Sometimes it'll be about petrochemicals in our air, our water, our food, consumer products. But we have a problem, and the problem is that the administration intends to gut all of the health protections that we together have all created. So we're going to push back, and we're going to push back in support of those communities who are most directly impacted, and we're going to support them so that they can protect themselves and their health. Here's the third thing we're going to do. Third thing we're going to do is we're going to push forward, and we're going to take it to the corporations that are willing to make us sick. So I was at this conference, I don't know, 6, 7 weeks ago, and I was sitting in the back of the room, and I was watching the speaker before me, and this was a conference of senior executives in the largest companies in the country, and so it was a room full of millionaire executives representing multi-billion-dollar companies. And what I saw was that they were gleeful, like a child, over the fact that the next 4 years they felt like they were not going to be held accountable by the federal government. So companies who have that attitude, we're just going to take it right at them. Sometimes we're going to do that by working with the Lexington Law Group and their brilliant lawyers who are in this room tonight. Sometimes we're going to do it by working with the customers of these companies, like Kaiser Permanente and Dignity Health, who are both here tonight. And both those companies stuck their necks out to sign the CEH pledge saying, we're not going to buy furniture anymore with these chemicals in them that are just going to make people sick. We're going to use every tool in our arsenal to fight back companies who have that attitude that I described in that meeting. So here's the deal. Right now, people who are more motivated by greed than by love are trying to destroy the health protections that we've all created together. And we're not going to let them. Okay, one day, Trump will be gone. And our kids will be here. And the young people in this room are going to be leading. Together with your help, we'll claim our healthy future with them and for them, and we're going to start right now. Thank you.